so cold out here. I can't believe you brought me all this way and you took some shortcut off of the interstate in snow coming down like this outside of the Pocono Mountains.
Well, no, see, I know it sounds crazy, but I got a good feeling about this because,
That's good because I have no feeling at all. That's how cold I am.
Let me just turn the heat up in the car just a little. Just turn it up a little bit.
Great. The cracked window isn't helping.
You can, here's some duct tape. You can patch it up.
Patch you up. So why would we get off the highway?
Because this way we
middle of winter.
This way we can avoid all the traffic,
What traffic? No one lives in the Poconos.
But we want to. This way we can just take a straight shot, and we can just
stop. Straighter than the interstate, which is literally a straight line.
Just trust me on this. This is going to be.
I don't think I can. I'm really, really cold, and. How long are we supposed to sit here before somebody comes? The road hasn't even been plowed.
It'll happen eventually, or we'll die.
Oh my God. What is that? It looks like a group of people.
Oh, hi everybody. They're not waving back.
No, they look disfigured.
Oh.
I'm going to go hang out with them. You are lame as hell. So
no,
sorry.
Don't leave me
Gotta
alone
go. Bye.
Here.
Bye.
No.
Bye.
This podcast is about why horror scares us. What deep, dark, secret, scary cinema shines a light on. The discussions are frank and involve conversations about abuse, trauma, and mental health. There are also spoilers. So keep that in mind, too. Now, sharpen your machetes and straight razors, because this is Cutting Deep into Horror.
Hello, my spookies, and welcome to this first of at least a couple Christmas time cutting deep into horrors. I'm, of course, your host, Enrique Couto, here with my cutting deep into horror co-host and fledgling improv actress, Rachel Rodolfi. Rachel, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I need to work on my yes ands.
Well, I it was a risk having you be the person who drove us out there, but here we are. So, but tonight we're talking about the 2007 film Wind Chill, which I have been a huge fan of for as long as I can remember. Give or take. I think I saw this film and I would say it was probably 2009 was when I first saw it. And I've always thought it was a great film. And it's one of those, though, it's definitely underrated because every person I talk to who loves this movie will be like, whoa, you know about Wind Chill? Like, that's a great movie. So I think that alone suggests it is very much a kind of a under the radar cult gem.
Yeah.
What do you say? What say you?
I mean, I haven't heard very many other people talk about Wind Chill.
Yeah, it definitely kind of came and went.
Yeah.
But it is super duper available to watch, by the way. So if you've never seen the film, you may want to give it a watch before we spoil everything while we talk about it. You can find it on Netflix with your subscription right now, which a lot of people have Netflix. But if you don't have Netflix, it is free on Tubi and free on the Roku channel. So, I mean, there's very little excuse.
Yeah. Place.
Or if you don't like advertisements and you don't like Netflix, you can rent it on Amazon Prime. You can rent it on Google Play. You can rent it on YouTube. You can rent it on Apple TV. And of course, Fandango at home. So it's basically wherever you rent your movies, that's where you can see Wind Chill. And it's a pretty fun, very wintry, very, I won't say very Christmassy. It's more wintry than Christmassy, but it is set at Christmas time.
Yes.
I'm just saying it's not like we're maggoty with lights and stuff, but it is a Christmas time movie. It is set on Christmas break, the beginning of Christmas break. The long short of the plot is basically 2 college students go on a road trip to, what was it? You don't remember, do you?
I remember them talking about Delaware.
Yeah, to Delaware. That's what it was.
Yeah.
They're on their way to Delaware, and they end up crashed on the side of the road, but also one of the people, the driver, may not exactly be who he said he was. And when you watch the trailers for this movie, they play that element up a ton. So, but I feel like the movie is much more about the fact that they're very clearly on a haunted stretch of road.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the ghosts are depicted is not super common in a really fun way. So I really can't recommend Wind Chill enough for that creepy, spooky vibe. I'm a big, staunch believer in the ghost stories and horror movies for Christmas kind of deal. I mean, ghost stories at Christmas is a very old tradition. And I think Christmas horror is just kind of where it's at. I mean, I think Christmas movies are where it's at because it's the only time of year where everything is different,
mm-hmm.
where everything is, decorated or what have you. It's just different is one way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it makes things feel more special, more specific to your experience. When you watch a movie and it's set at Christmas, you're like, oh yeah, that time of year. So yeah. And this one ranks highly for me of kind of underrated Christmas time movies. And then of course my other favorite movie setting is snow.
Which this has a lot of.
A ton of snow for mid to late December in the Poconos. It's a lot of snow, actually.
Yeah. So,
but you don't always get that. You don't always get both. Sometimes you get a snow movie and there's no Christmas. Sometimes you get a Christmas movie and there's no snow.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But this is both.
This is both. And unlike, I think it was last year. Was it last year I think we did Better Watch Out. It was the year before, I think, was when we did Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yes.
Or maybe it wasn't, or maybe it was last year. I don't remember exactly. But
no, I think it was the year before.
Okay. Wow, we've been doing the show that long.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, that was a great episode because I have a million things to say about Silent Night, Deadly Night, and you should be watching that, people out there. And by the way, for those who really enjoy cutting deep into horror and have just joined recently, you can head to weeklyspooky.com and there's a drop down where you can see every episode of Cutting Deep into Horror listed out nice and easy for you to binge listen as needed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But when we get back, we're going to dig into a little bit more of the details of Wind Chill, and maybe Rachel will say something.
No.
Right after this. So as we mentioned, Wind Chill released in 2007. It's directed by a guy named Gregory Jacobs, who I don't believe has directed that much else. He directed Magic Mike XXL in 2015, which makes sense because Steven Soderbergh was a producer on Wind Chill.
Yes.
And Soderbergh was the director of the original Magic Mike. And before that, he did a movie in 2004 called Criminal, which has John C. Reilly in it. I had not heard about it, or heard of it, but yeah. Oh, and it was also produced by George Clooney and Soderbergh. So there you go on that. And then he did a movie. Well, he wrote a movie in 2015 called Blackway, which I actually had seen. It's a pretty good little thriller. And it looks like he's been producing way more. Oh, okay. Yeah. He's been producing a ton more. He produced Logan Lucky, Edge of Tomorrow, which we both are fans of.
Yeah.
The movie Dog, which I really liked, Magic Mike's Last Dance, Black Bag, which is a Soderbergh movie that I really liked about a married couple who are both in intelligence. They're both spies, basically. That was super good. I caught that in the theater and really, really liked it. But yeah, so this was his second film as a director, so not his debut, which is too bad because that always makes movies more charming when you hear it's like their directorial debut.
Yeah.
Although he's from Harrington Park, New Jersey, so no wonder he wanted to set it in the Poconos. And it's written by Joe Gangemi and Stephen A. Katz, who, let's see, they worked on Shadow of the Vampire, and they were mostly short story writers. mostly, it looks like.
So fun. I was looking up little factoids about wind chill, and apparently Stephen Katz is just Joe Gangami's pseudonym.
Really?
Yeah. Or Joe Gangami. Yeah. Katz wrote the first draft under a pen name to separate this project from his screenwriting work on Shadow of the Vampire.
Really? That's wild because they both are credited on IMDb as well as individual
that's wild.
people.
Well, this could be wrong.
Where'd you get it from?
From ChatGPT.
Oh, did you ask it to see if it was telling the truth?
No, I didn't.
Because I am pretty sure they're not the same person. Like, I'm pretty sure that they're both in the, they're two different people. They're both in the making of Wind Chill sitting next to each other.
Well, never mind.
Yeah, Joseph Gangemi is an American screenwriter and novelist from Wilmington, Delaware.
Oh.
Yeah. And
there goes the Delaware.
There you go. Jeez, what did you do?
Yeah, I'm awful.
Why'd you got to do that?
I'm sorry.
See it, you were like, I'm going to help. And I was like, oh no, this is going to hurt so much more.
Yeah.
It's going to cause even more.
Yeah, you should never let me
Hell
help.
is coming with you. Be in hell for breakfast. But no, so I mean, it's a pretty solid, a pretty solid little team that came together. Apparently the concept came about because Joe Gangemi and Stephen Katz came up with the idea of people stuck in a car and called it the tiniest haunted house.
Ooh.
That's what I recall. There isn't an American Blu-ray release that is not a 3-pack. By the way, if you want to collect this, you either have to buy the Australian copy, which I'm debating trying to grab one, or you can get a 3-pack alongside Perfect Stranger and Straight Heads, which is what I have currently, but I just watched it on digital. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds. I also was trying really hard to see if anybody was claiming Stephen Katz and Joseph Gangemi were the same person. And so far, no.
Nope.
I mean, it's still, no, it's really not possible. No. Boy, howdy. No. Anyway.
Well, anyway.
Boo.
That's the last time I tried it.
Boo this woman.
Yeah.
Boo. But no, so what we have here with Wind Chill is a very taut, very simple, although I would say big in scale for a film that mostly features just two people.
Yeah.
Not solely two people. There are other characters that pop in and out, but for the most part, we're in the car and around the car with them after they've crashed on State Route 606 in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, they filmed it in Vancouver and it was very, very cold.
It looks very cold.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about this movie is how oppressively cold it is throughout. There are some snow movies where you get like moments of reprieve. They go someplace where it feels kind of warm and cozy, but there is none of that in this movie.
No, they're stuck on the side of the road, and there's like a legendary cold snowstorm coming through, and they expect wind chills to get as low as a -30, which I have worked in a -20. Roughly, it was like 15 to 20 degree wind chill. This is Fahrenheit. And it was hell. I was operating camera, and if you don't have gloves on, your fingers they froze and ached immediately. It was vicious. But the worst part was because it was the wind chill that was that cold, you could stand there and just be a bit cold, and then the wind would gust and it would be like 10 degrees, 15 degrees colder in that gust.
Shit.
Yep, that polar vortex is for real. So
no, thank you.
But now, as far as the cast, worth mentioning, no characters in the film have names.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, nobody's ever named, which is not a totally unheard of concept. One of my favorite films, They Live, starring Roddy Piper. Everyone has a name except the main character. He never tells anyone his name in the entire film. So they actually credited him as Nada because he didn't have a name. So I do appreciate stuff like that. I also, it's it's funny because usually you want to like give people names, their characters' names, to help them connect with the character more. But in this one, there's such a degree of like anonymity that is kind of interesting. But we have the lead in this film is a very young Emily Blunt, who went on to become one of the biggest names in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still a pretty damn big name in Hollywood. This would have been right before she went on to do like The Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that. I'm trying to find like an exact time frame of her acting credits for that. But I mean, she's, obviously, let's see. So she did, oh no, this was right at the same time she did The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, wow.
So I'm guessing it was before it came out or before it became a huge hit. But she was in Guillermo del Toro's Wolfman. She was in Gulliver's Travels in 2010. She was in The 5-Year Engagement, Looper, Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, look, it all comes back to Edge of Tomorrow. She was in Sicario. She was the lead in Sicario, which is phenomenal. One of my favorite movies. I mean, I'm just picking little ones. Like she was obviously the lead in A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then she was in Oppenheimer. Man, she's been in so much. And she was just in The Smashing Machine, the UFC biopic that I saw in the theater. Man, she was like unrecognizable as that character. She transformed herself very much to play that character.
Oh, wow.
So I'm guessing you don't know who Emily Blunt is off the top of your head.
Once you started listing some of her credits, I was able to kind of remember what she's been in.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk about our leading man with the name Guy right after this. Playing Guy is Ashton Holmes, who you might recognize from A History of Violence, a very polarizing and intense film by David Cronenberg. He was also well known for being in the miniseries The Pacific on HBO, on the CW action thriller series Nikita, and as Tyler Barrell on ABC's Revenge.
Ooh.
So he had a pretty decent career himself. Although, I mean, Emily Blunt is like a 1 in a million career.
Yeah.
Just insane how much work she's done in such a, 20 some year period of time. She's also married to John Krasinski, which, I mean, that A Quiet Place was like their passion project they did together. So yeah, very, very cool. Very interesting. It's always wild to see somebody start. I mean, this is not the tiniest movie. I think the budget was a little like maybe $5 to $10 million. It's not published anywhere, but it's probably in that neighborhood. So I mean, it wasn't a super cheap affair, but it was a smaller movie. Her character is definitely like a showcase for her.
Oh yeah.
She gets to have a lot of emotions. She gets to be funny. She gets to be, she gets to be the hot girl. She gets to be the mean girl. She gets to be the scared girl. She gets to kind of do everything.
Yeah, the range that she has throughout the entire movie. Well, both of them, though.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm just saying that. But I mean, she's the lead.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, the ending when she's crying and stuff, it just really, I mean, it's all her. She's just running with that ball. Yo. So, the first time I saw this film I believe it was 2009. When I moved back to Ohio, the first year, maybe, and some change that I was here was pretty depressing. I didn't have a job. I didn't have much of anything. And I had been living in Jersey for 3 years, and I had to get rid of most of my stuff to make the move back and da-da-da-da. But one thing I refused to do was allow like holiday seasonal depression to get to me. I was very adamant that I wouldn't let that happen. So I was like on a mission to find Christmas movies, and in particular Christmas horror movies that year. And I was watching them every single night, and almost exclusively new ones to me. In fact, that's how I discovered all of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, because I'd only ever seen the first and second one, because those were very readily available.
Yeah.
I was pretty broke back then, so I was pirating like everything. I was unashamed at that time. And I managed to get like all 5 Silent Night Deadly Nights. I remember because I literally watched the first Silent Night Deadly Night at like 11 a.m. on Christmas Day, and then went to dinner and then came back and just was watching them all in a row. I watched all 5 in a day.
As one should.
As one should. It was not a terrible Christmas. I mean, I came home with a giant plate of deviled eggs and just shoveled them into my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deviled eggs.
My mom's deviled eggs are special.
They are good.
So, yeah, she used to make me a tray just for me that were like separate from everything that had my name on them. So in that, I discovered Wind Chill just from Googling like Christmas time horror movies. That's it. So I believe I downloaded it. Maybe it was on a streaming service, but in 2009, I barely even had Netflix yet.
Yeah.
So I remember watching it, really being floored by it, finding it so creepy. I didn't even have a television. I was watching everything on my iMac next to where I slept. Like I would turn it to where I laid to sleep. A very depressing time. I mean, better than when I was living in my car, but like it was pretty depressing. But I loved that one. I thought that the earnestness of the characters was really solid. I thought that the setting was super engrossing, and I think setting an atmosphere can do so much for a horror movie. So this one having the snowy atmosphere, really pulls you in.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, the first time I saw it, you showed it to me, of course.
I feel like that's most people in the world.
Yeah. You single-handedly helped introduce it to the whole world.
It feels like it sometimes.
But no, it was one winter, and you and I, we love to watch snow movies when there's a snowstorm.
Oh, there's nothing that beats it.
Yeah, it's like one of our favorite things. So there was one time where there was like going to be a big snowstorm, so I came over and I think I like spent the night with you and hunkered down overnight.
Yeah, I probably made soup.
Yeah,
that's usually my move. Is to make soup.
Come over, I'll make soup.
Well, do you remember that time there was a giant snowstorm coming on Friday, and I think I can't remember. I think you were there. It was a long time ago, but there was a huge snowstorm coming, and Dave was going to come down to hang out, and I convinced him like rush down ahead of the storm, and then just hunker down, and we'll watch movies. And I had stuff. I was like, I'll make soup the next day. So Dave and I ran out and got Bruin Brews pizza while the snow was pummeling down. And then, yeah, he ended up because he was like trapped here till like Saturday night.
Yeah.
That was when the cars were, or the roads were plowed. No, I nothing beats getting snowed in as long as you have enough food and heat and everything you need.
Yeah. And toilet paper. I guess that falls under everything you need.
I would say so.
Yeah. So you showed me, you showed me Wind Chill, and you'd been hyping it up for quite a while. And when we finally got like the perfect snowstorm, we watched it, and I was just blown away by the atmosphere, by the pacing, by how tense it was without being like full of jump scares.
Sure, it's got a few.
But it's not like your classic. It's not like a slasher movie.
No, not at all.
It's very much a psychological thriller, kind of slow burn, which you said. And it was one of those movies that I just kept thinking about for like several days afterward, because it gives you a lot to think about. And watching it this second time, I feel like there was a few things that I had missed the first time around that I was able to catch this time.
Yeah. And
just really gave me a even better appreciation for such an underrated movie.
I don't know if I believe you, but but no, it is a really great one to put on and get, a hot bowl of soup or a pizza or something and just take it in. And because of the time that we're actually recording this right before Thanksgiving, because I've got my work cut out for me in December. This was the first Christmas movie of the season I've watched. So, which I'm not mad about. It's just kind of funny that it turned out that way. It worked out that way. So Well, we're going to dive into the concepts and the story beats of Wind Chill right after this. So we go to a college. It's actually Pennsylvania University.
Ooh, PU.
I'm sure that joke has never happened before. I can't pretend that I know. I can't pretend I know on that one. But I will say that every time I watch this movie, I seem to forget it's set in Pennsylvania and I figure it out. And then as soon as I figure it out, I remember that I figured it out that way last time.
It's almost like you're stuck in a time loop.
Whoa. Are you trying to bring up friggin' eternal recurrence?
Maybe.
Which technically eternal return or eternal recurrence, by the way, is the concept Nietzsche was exploring, apparently.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get into that more later. But so we meet Girl. I believe that was her credited name. Yeah, Girl. It's Girl and Guy. I couldn't remember.
Girl and Guy.
I thought it was 2 G's, Girl and Guy. 2 G's. But we see them on the college campus, and this opening, I think maybe this is another reason. You tell me. I think this is another reason the movie feels really comfy and cozy. The opening where we're at the college campus, it's just nostalgic as shit. I mean, the funny thing, it's funny now thinking I watched the movie for the first time in 2009 when it was basically then. I mean, 2007 and 2009 are not that different from each other.
No.
It is wild. How did you feel the first time you saw a movie and noticed that they were showing cell phones from like 2008 and you realized it felt different, like a different time than now, but that was a time you lived in? Like, what was that like? Yeah. It was probably The Big Short. The Big Short was the one for me where I was like, oh man, they've really,
yeah.
well, and Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad takes place in like, I think 2009 or 2010. And then the whole thing, even though it took like 8 years to finish, is like 18 months.
Yeah.
So they had to keep everything with
consistent.
The old phones and stuff like that. But it's funny because society and trends, they are not as aggressive to change now as they were. Like, if you look at the difference between 1981 and 1991, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
1991 to 2001, huge. 2001 to 2011, decent. 2011 to 2021, a bit.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's almost all utilitarian. It's like, well, the phones are different.
Yeah.
Like the clothes aren't that different. Although I think some people say that's like a symbol that we're like losing our collective like identity, or not collective identity, or maybe that's kind of a way to put it, but like we're losing that thing, that oomph that makes us different from generation to generation. I kind of disagree. I think that it's the opposite. I think we're losing the trend chasing. I think trend chasing is way less common now, at least in America where we are. I think trend chasing is way less common now. So only the most, vapid are chasing whatever is cool in that moment. I think the average person just can pick a pair of pants they like and pick a shirt they like. Yeah. And we have a million options too. So it's kind of like, to me, it's almost like extreme individuality has like a cloaking appearance of homogeny, when in reality it's not. It's just, if everybody's wearing exactly what they want, then that just kind of looks normal.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the baggy jeans, we don't have the Junko jeans and the wallet chains anymore. Like, that's what we grew up. People were, we don't have the navel rings. Rachel had a navel ring. She was a 2000s kid who wore a navel ring.
Shut up.
But you're the one who admitted it to me. That's your own fault. So, but no, so that was a little bit of a tangent, but I really do think that there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, a movie in 2007, especially one that's shot in 2007, but not literally not pretending to be in 2007, not set in 2007, it just is.
Yeah.
I think that, there's a coziness to it. Everybody's like, in college. I never went to college, but like they're all young and like they've got their phones and they're like T9 texting, which if you know what that meant when I just said that, take some more ibuprofen for your back. I need it too. But no, so there is that cozy vibe of like, this is like for us, for our generation being millennials.
Yeah. It just feels familiar.
It feels familiar, but it like can really, for us especially, put us immediately into this sense of like, it's winter break, you're a kid, and now all this bad shit's about to happen. So it's scarier in that it makes you identify with everybody.
Absolutely.
In that way.
Absolutely.
So also want to mention Emily Blunt. I had to check because I was like, how old is she now? Because if she was playing a college student in 2007, we have to be somewhat close in age. And Emily Blunt was, I just had it. She was born in like 84.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, very close.
I want to say it was 84 or 83. Wait, 83. So
Okay.
she's like 42 right now, give or take. So she's 3 years older than me, about 3.5 years older than you, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. And yeah, so she was playing way younger than she was. And for the most part, I don't think it was, I think it was convincing is what I mean. I don't think it looked unusual at all. I think they both are excellent casting.
Absolutely.
So she's in a lecture hall. She's texting instead of listening because tomorrow's winter break.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Let's get out of here.
Oh, man. So you were homeschooled. You only had winter break when you were in college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm assuming you had some kind of breaks in homeschooling.
Yeah. Like we might get the week of a big holiday off. But in general, like we were going all through the winter. Well,
in school, we only got the 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Was it 2? I don't even think it was 2 weeks. I think it was just 1 week.
Was it really?
For Christmas season. No, we had a winter break. No, we had a winter break. Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it was like the week before Christmas, and then we came back shortly after New Year's.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we would take a break like basically a few days leading up. I mean, depending on when Christmas fell, a few days leading up to Christmas, and then like the week between Christmas and New Year's, and then pretty much right after New Year's, we'd get back at it. But see, the thing is, we didn't take like a ton of breaks. We would do like schoolwork in the summer to kind of like keep up on it. But Mom would like, when my dad got home from a trip, we would always like take a few days off to spend with him. Or Mom would always the first day of spring that was really, really nice. She'd be like, get out of my house, go outside, play outside.
Yeah, there's flexibility. I mean, they're the bosses. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, this young woman needs to go home to Delaware. Every time I think of Delaware, I think of the Wayne's World skit. Hey, we're in Delaware. No offense, Delaware. No sales tax in Delaware. I don't know if that's still true. It used to be.
Good for them.
But she needs to get to Delaware. She's texting with her friend, and her friend's like, how are you going to get there? And she types in BUS, which tells you everything you need to know about her mood. Because I don't think you've ever went on a long bus ride.
Uh-huh.
No, I've taken a Greyhound bus 12 hours each way.
Oof.
It really wasn't that bad. I mean, there were moments that weren't great, but like the most of the trip was easy, especially if you're traveling that far, because it's like just in the the metropolitan areas, the bus is going to be packed, and you might have a chance at running into some people who are rude or being crammed or whatever.
Okay.
But when you're going from like Erie to Rochester, New York, there's like 7 people on the bus.
Okay.
And 8 if you count the Canadian. And I sat next to the Canadian. Well, we were like near each other. It was pretty funny, actually. We got along great. He had a lot of like kind of like, this was like 2004. He had a lot of like negative things to say about America, but that were like friendly because he's Canadian. And then I was like, yeah. And I was like, so if Canada's so great, why are you going to upstate New York to meet a girl? And he was like, fair point. He was very, very cool. Like we had a great time. We were not like fighting. We were like making each other laugh a lot. So she says bus. Well, then she is told like, why don't you check the ride share? Because at this college and at a lot of colleges, people who are going somewhere will just put up a thing saying, hey, I'm going to Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah,
anybody else need a ride to Camden, New Jersey, we could split the fare or the cost, not the fare, because they're driving. And she goes over there and finds one little haphazardly written note with some, phone numbers you could rip off that says, going to Delaware. So she grabs the piece of paper and we're off to the races. And we'll dive into the beginning of that trip right after this. We walk up to the 1986 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, which even in 2007 is an old car.
Very beat up.
A 21-year-old. That car is old enough to drink. And that's where we meet Guy, who is would you call him unassuming?
Yeah, I would call him unassuming.
Like, if as a woman, what would your threat assessment be when you'd made plans to go on this trip home for the holidays or whatever, and you walk up and see this dude with like his, kind of, his nappy mop of hair, and he's not dressed badly or anything. He seems like he takes showers and stuff.
He's what's his name? Michael Cena type?
Michael Cera?
Sarah.
Yeah, you're thinking John Cena and Michael Cera,
yeah,
which would be a horrifying,
I do that a lot. It's
combination. I think he's actually kind of a handsome.
Yeah, he's. It's not necessarily that he looks bad. It's just that his composure is so mild. Yeah, nebbish.
I love the word nebbish. I use it all the time.
So threat assessment on a scale of 1 to 10, 3.
3?
Yeah.
Is 3 on the general low side?
Yeah. With 10 being the highest and like 1 being the lowest.
Well, I mean, could you ever have a 1 on it with a stranger?
No, not really.
That's what I was getting at. So I was like, I feel like 3 is probably as good as it gets with a total stranger.
Yeah. Maybe if the stranger was a baby.
At that point, I mean, then you really don't trust him. But no, so yeah, I just thought that was a helpful way to get across that, like, yeah, he seems like he's probably harmless, nice enough guy. You go to the same college, that helps a little. With,
he's a little messy.
Oh, well, his car is just full of stuff. Well, in his defense, the car is a mess, but it's also crammed full of all of his dorm room shit.
Yeah. He does reveal a little later on that he moved out of his dorm room / kind of got kicked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does mention that. It's kind of in passing, but
yeah.
Yeah. And usually during certain breaks and stuff, people are pulling shit out of the dorms.
Yeah.
So yeah, Guy does not appear to be heavily enjoying his college experience necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Unlike Girl, who is enjoying it quite a bit. She's got a lot of friends, but she's also, one thing I'll say that this movie kind of does that's kind of cliche, although I think it's a good cliche, is she is the popular hot girl who's way deeper than people realize.
Yes, and much smarter.
She is extremely smart. I think that she came off as smart.
She did, yeah.
Like from the beginning. Although she comes off as smart because she comes off as cynical, but I think that's just her boundaries, her barriers to kind of protect herself. So as they're packing the car up, she is already complaining because the car is old and beat up and he's kind of dorky. She's, being bitchy right away. And they just start gathering everything up. And as they drive away, he tells her to grab some stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And as they drive away, we notice a bag full of groceries just sitting on the side of the road. And I feel like if you're watching Wind Chill, you likely know that this is a car, like a stranded car movie. So that is extra because it's like, that's like your lifeline. There's like food and stuff in there. Yeah. You need it. I often think about sometimes when I'm cleaning my car out or going on a trip and I have to throw some trash out or whatever. I often think about I'll look around and be like, oh crap, I drank the 2 bottles of water I always keep in my car. Should really put new water in my car in case I ever end up on the side of the road. And sometimes I'll be like, man, I should really put some protein bars in here just to be safe. But then I'm like, yeah, just put fucking food all over the bottom of your car, stupid. That's how your car got so messy in the first place, dumb. That's me. That's me talking to me. But anyway, so they get out on the highway and she's just not.
She's not into it. She's immediately
not into like anything.
Yeah, she almost immediately gets on her cell phone and calls someone up and just starts talking.
Yeah, her
And
friend
he's
who she was texting with earlier.
Yeah, he's like right there, like in the middle of their conversation, just looking around like, I'm here.
Yeah. She's talking like he's not even there. She even talks about him a little bit.
Yeah, and she's kind of rude about it.
Yeah, and she also mentions in passing that she was supposed to go to Cabo for Christmas, but, that didn't work out.
Pan out.
Well, I mean, who would pick Cabo over Delaware? So, but as he kind of tells her, like, it's kind of, he's like looking upset. I don't think he says anything yet. She snaps a picture of him and sends it to her friend. And she's like, that's just evidence, in case you turn out to be a psycho or something. And he's like, okay. And when she finally gets off the phone because she realizes she's upset him, he tells her, that's what we're doing. We share everything. We split the gas and we split the whatever. And she's like, well, I didn't realize I was supposed to be your entertainment. And I got to say, as a person who's went on, I would say like 10 to 20 times my share of long car trips. I think I probably travel more than like 20%, like I'm probably in the highest 20% of travelers.
Yeah.
I don't travel all the time, but I travel quite a bit. It's not, unusual for me to jump in my car for 10 hours.
Yeah.
It is absolutely your job to entertain the driver. That is super important. In fact, I'll tell you a story about why you should always keep the driver amused and awake right after this. You should always... What were you looking at?
There's a hair on your control board.
This hair?
Yeah.
You want it?
Oh, no.
You can eat it.
No.
Anyway. But I was going to say, so you are supposed to keep the driver awake.
Absolutely.
It's really important. I was once on I have a couple of stories about this. I was once on a road trip with a woman who I thought we got along okay, and no joke, I was exhausted, and she knew that I was very, very tired. And I had told her at one point, I was like, you gotta help me stay awake. You gotta talk to me. And she was the worst conversation starter I've ever witnessed. She would ask you questions and you would answer them and be like, what about you? And she'd be like, I don't know. I don't do that, whatever. And I'd be like, if you want it to be a conversation, you need to ask something that you have an answer to, because then you have something to say too. Because it's not helping me stay awake to just be flooded with one-sided questions. It's just confusing me. But so when I worked in professional wrestling, we never traveled super far for work, but we would travel sometimes 2-3 hours away. And there was a very stern rule, because people ride together all the time, that your entire job when you're the passenger in a car is to keep the driver awake. That's it. And I heard so many stories about pranks and scaring the living hell out of people because they fell asleep. One of my favorites was hearing about how a guy fell asleep and the guy was driving just took both his hands and slammed them down on the dashboard as hard as he could to make an incredibly loud sound. And then when the guy next to him woke up, he swerved the wheel and then got really dodgy and was like, what? And he was like, what happened? He's like, nothing happened. What do you mean? And then basically over the course of an hour and a half of that drive, slowly revealed that he hit a road worker and he better keep his fucking mouth shut or he'll kill him. And these are guys who barely know each other. And then eventually found out no, I just was teaching you you don't fall asleep. And he was like, yeah, from that moment on, anytime I'm in the passenger seat of a car, my eyes are wide open. Yeah. So don't fall asleep unless you want to reap the penalties, especially if you're working in the wrestling business. But anyway, so she basically tells him if I'm your entertainment, you're screwed, which is now she's being self-deprecating.
Yeah.
And it's clear that this is going to be quite a trip.
It's going to be a long
trip. They said 6 hours, I believe.
Something like that.
I think they said 6
6 or
hours.
8.
6. I couldn't have been 8. 8's really far for Delaware.
Okay, so 6.
I think it was 6. 6 is still pretty long.
Yeah, that's still long.
Yeah, that's a long drive. And it's December 23rd was the day on the calendar. So also when she's asking him questions about where he's from up in Delaware, and I should mention Delaware is a very small state. That's why you wouldn't put the city. You just go like, are you going to Delaware? Because you could pretty much drop somebody off in Delaware and it not put you out more than maybe a half an hour. So you just say Delaware. Where are you at in Delaware? But so his answers are all kind of vague.
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
Yeah. No, he never answers anything directly or head on. And a lot of times he'll be kind of like, oh yeah, it's like this. But anyway, let's change the subject, But
he does seem really into what she's talking about. She's obviously not into what he's talking about. And then she starts painting her toenails and just kind of doing whatever else and telling him, the classic thing that you should always expect when you're chauffeuring a woman around, which is stop at the next gas station. I need to pee.
Yeah.
I always got to pee. Always got to pee. So,
guilty. Well, and at that point, because as they're getting to know each other a little bit, they start talking about going to school, going to classes, and it turns out they have a class together. And she even kind of says like, oh, well, I never noticed you, which isn't a nice thing to say. But then again, the classes are like 200 people.
Well, he seems unsurprised she didn't notice him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a very good opinion of himself.
No, he's very self-deprecating all the time.
Yeah.
And she makes a joke, cause he's like, yeah, we were in like a philosophy class together or something. And she makes a joke about, oh yeah, I couldn't stand that class, all the Eastern religions types. And he's like, yeah, my major is Eastern religion.
No, she asks him what his major is and he says Eastern religion.
Yeah.
which I'm on her side. Like, what are you going to do with that? Really? What are you going to do with Eastern religion as your
not much
as your major? I mean, teach Eastern religion? Congrats. I don't know. Yeah, because she was in the philosophy class to get an easy credit.
Yeah.
A humanities credit.
So that gets them talking, though, about reincarnation versus eternal recurrence.
Well, it's not versus. He mentions eternal recurrence, and she thinks it's like reincarnation.
Yeah, and he explains, like, no, they're totally different things.
Yeah, and there's been a long history of different concepts for eternal return or eternal recurrence, but they're referring mostly to Nietzsche's, Friedrich Nietzsche's version, which is one of the central concepts of philosophy, of his philosophy. Although the idea is not original itself, which that's just Nietzsche for you. But yeah, I wish I could give like a good rundown. I'm not like an expert on Nietzsche. I'd have to read something out loud and it's very long, but basically the idea that, that things will happen again and again.
Okay.
Forever.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. I mean, what was your take on it?
I mean, it just seems like everything is cyclical. And so like once things end, it just goes back to the beginning. I haven't done a ton of research on it, so that's kind of what I just gleaned out of the movie. Yeah.
It looks like Nietzsche's understanding of it was the idea that you just relive everything exactly as it was again. And if you were aware of it, wouldn't you want to die?
That sounds like Nietzsche.
That sounds like friggin' Nietzsche. Anyway. But now, as they're trucking along, they find a gas station. Although a whole new challenge has occurred because the gas station came up really soon and girls, it's so funny they don't have names, her toenails are not finished being painted or drying rather. And she's like, I didn't know we were going to find a place so fast. And I love this restaurant gas station, by the way, because I know this was shot in Canada, but that place really reminds me of the kind of places in New England and in some parts of the Poconos where this is taking place, where they just have these big, weird, they look almost like family restaurants, but they're absolutely built into a gas station. And when they come in, because her toes are wet, he
like gives her a piggyback ride.
he coerces her to jump on his back so he can do that for her so they can get into the store and then she can walk around, which is pretty cute that he's like, but it becomes very clear he's trying very, very hard to win her affection.
Mm-hmm.
So she heads over to the bathroom, which, as is always the case, is through the restaurant.
Of course.
That's my own experience. Every time I've stopped anywhere where there's a restaurant and a gas station, is the bathroom is through the restaurant, and some odd things happen in the bathroom, which this is a scene I don't always remember right away when I'm remembering the movie. And we'll talk about it right after this.
So as the guy and the girl are approaching the gas station, she kind of mentions offhandedly that she's going to be getting corrective eye surgery.
Well, he starts by talking about how horrible it is. Like that he watched some Discovery Channel thing and that it was really like heinous.
He's like, it's awful. I'd never do it. I don't know why anyone does it.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd want to do it if they knew about the part where they peel your eye. Oh, yeah, because she says keep your eyes peeled for a gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah,
why would anyone do that? It's so gross. So she mentions that she's going to get corrective eye surgery, and he kind of gets disappointed. He's like, why would you do that? You look so cute wearing your glasses. Now, note, she is not wearing glasses. She has not been seen wearing glasses, and she gets rather disturbed because she only wears her glasses in her dorm. And she even asks, like, when have you seen me wear my glasses? And that's when he's like, oh, I see a gas station. Let's pull over here. Quick diversion. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
So he gives her, the awkward piggyback ride, and she walks through the restaurant and gets to the bathroom. And it's very interesting because you mentioned that you forget about this scene until you see it, and you find it interesting. And I find the scene interesting as well because the first thing that she does when she gets in the bathroom isn't actually go to the bathroom. It's stop at the mirror and take out her glasses and put them on and see how they actually look on her face, which I think is interesting, not just because, it's kind of revealing like, oh, he really does know some things about her that it's weird that he knows, but also that she's not immediately writing off his opinion. She still holds some value to it. So she goes to the bathroom and, things feel kind of tense because it's a dingy, gross gas station bathroom. But when she gets out, the main door that would lead back into the restaurant is locked and she can't get it open. And she's banging on the door, and it seems like she can hear the clerk and she can hear Guy talking, and she's, yelling and screaming, but they don't come to help her. So she finally manages to push the door open and get it open, and she storms over and she's asking why they didn't help her. And they're acting kind of confused, like they don't understand because they didn't hear her. So she kind of lets it go, and Guy has an armful of water bottles as they're leaving. And the clerk says, you'll be fine. Just remember, stick to the main highway.
Yeah, stick to the highway.
You'll get there just fine. And this worries girl. She's like, are we lost?
And he's like, no, we're fine. I've done this drive a million times.
A million times. It's fine. So.
Well, before we leave the gas station, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry if you had.
No.
What did you take from this scene where she's stuck in the bathroom and can't get out? Do you think there was some reason that it happened? Do you think that it was just the door was stuck and for some reason no one could hear her? Do you think it was, what do you take from it?
Well, it's hard when you first see the movie to kind of place it. But to me, I feel like the gas station is kind of like the place where the time bubble begins. So to me, it feels almost like fate trying to keep her from entering the time bubble. Or maybe she was already being affected by the time bubble, and that's why the clerk and Guy couldn't hear her, because she was already being affected by it, but they weren't. Or maybe they were being affected by it, but she wasn't, So she wasn't on the same timeline as them at that point.
Okay.
That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think one of the reasons I forget about it is I don't have like a neat and clear image of how it fits into the horror that we're about to come up on.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the reasons that I like it as a scene, because it starts setting the tone without totally revealing what's going to be going on. All we can glean from that scene is just that there's going to be this sense of isolation, and that continues throughout the rest of the movie and keeps amping up throughout the rest of the movie, is that feeling of isolation, of being so close to help but not being able to reach help.
I didn't think they were very close to help during most of the movie.
Oh, well, they mentioned that they could try to get to the gas station. Like the gas station is kind of but they
didn't have a concept of how far away it was.
No.
I mean, not literally how far away it was. They knew it was way down the highway, or the freeway rather. Sorry, I'm not trying to challenge you on it. It's just, I don't remember that part. I don't feel like it was ever, until right at the very end, I don't feel like they were almost escaping very often.
No, that's fair. It's not a great analogy.
Really. Jeez. But no, so they get back in the car and they start heading out, and immediately they turn off of Interstate 470, which is, or 480, I think it was. Yeah, it was 480, which is when I always remember the movie is in Pennsylvania. when I see that, I'm like, oh, they're up by the Poconos.
That's where they are.
I've driven that road so many times. But they take a turn onto what appears to be State Route 606, and it is not plowed. It is covered in like in a very fresh inch of snow, maybe 2 inches of snow, and they just start driving down it.
And as they're driving, they even pass like a pair of wooden crosses on the roadside, which is never a good sign.
I mean, those are everywhere though.
Fair.
I mean, I see them all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is a symbol that somebody has died near there. So, I mean, it's not a great omen necessarily.
No. And she's protesting. She doesn't like the fact that they're going down this smaller road. And he just keeps insisting that it's a scenic route.
Well, he says it's a shortcut.
Oh, that it's a shortcut.
No, he reveals it's a scenic route. That's later. That's later when he finds out, when she finds out exactly what his deal is.
They have a cute moment talking about Christmas and Santa Claus. And he mentions that he grew up in a Dutch family, so he grew up with Dutch Santa Claus, who has
Sinterklaas.
Sinterklaas.
He, instead of living in the North Pole, he lives in Spain.
Yes,
and he's scary. And he has an enforcer named Black Pete, who, calling him an enforcer is a nice thing because he's Santa's slave. Sinterklaas's slave is Black Peter.
Oh, great!
So
that's fun.
Yeah, and he's called Black Peter because he's black.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Europe, kids.
Yay!
Yeah, it's great. It's great, Europe.
And then she she makes the mood even better because she says, she just had to learn how to have Christmas with divorced parents.
Yeah, 2 turkey dinners, or twice the turkey dinners, twice the gifts you have to exchange for store credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, they see a car coming down this very thin, skinny lane,
very narrow road
freeway. And it seems like it's not going to move. She's telling him, pull over to the shoulder, or she says, pull over and let the asshole through. And he's like, where? There's no shoulder. And the car hits them. They fling through the road, hit a bank of snow, and we'll find out more right after this.
So she wakes up in the car. It's dark. They're trapped in the snowbank.
Yeah, and because right before that car came, it was just becoming dark out.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about the movie is it will occasionally have like timestamps You know,
Yeah.
it'll say like, 5:13 p.m. And I would have to go back and rewatch the movie, but I think that actually plays into, especially toward the end, it plays into the time loop thing. Because I think the timestamps start getting mixed up. And that's, if you're paying attention, you can realize like, oh, this scene happened chronologically, in a different time. But that's just an interesting little note. So she wakes up and he's still like unconscious in the car. So she gets out of the car and gets out her cell phone and is trying to find a cell phone signal. And she's kind of like wandering around. And then he just appears behind her. And it's one of those really effective, like mild jump scares where, she was so preoccupied that she didn't even, notice him coming. But again, that kind of plays into later on in the movie what's going on with him. And they start like discussing what happened. And he points out that he can't even see tracks from the other car.
Yeah, there's no tracks on the road.
So that's very unsettling because to them at that point, that just kind of confirms that they've been here for a very long time. They thought maybe like the snow may have covered everything. So they try to find some indication of like where they are or how they can get help, but they can't find anything. So they go back to the car and they want to try and get it like unstuck, but they can't get it unstuck from the snow. She's trying to like steer it while he pushes it and they can't get it to budge. And as they're trying to get out of the snowdrift, she's getting increasingly upset because she feels like he engineered all of this to get her trapped here. Yeah,
well, the more they talk, the more his story kind of falls apart. And he seems to know an awful lot about her, and she knows zippity-doo-dah about him.
And what really, like, the linchpin for her was kind of realizing, she was talking, you mentioned how Delaware is a real small state.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna know, if you're from Delaware, you're gonna know the landmarks. And she started mentioning, like, the places she was looking forward to visiting in Delaware, and he didn't know any of them. And that's when she kind of realized, like, he never has even been to Delaware, let alone is actually from Delaware. So as they get there, arguing, she locks him out of the car because she doesn't feel safe with him. And she even calls her friend and like leaves a voicemail just in case, anything more happens. She's like, this is evident, further evidence of who I'm with and what's happening and, what you did to me. They finally calm down. And this is why I was saying, like, help always felt like it could have been close, because this is the point when he says, like, okay, well, I'm going to try and get help from the gas station. That's the last place we saw people. We know that it's down the road, but we know it's there. So he's going to try to go there, and he tells her to stay in the car. And again, it's a busted up old car and it's got a busted window. So he says, if the wind gets too bad and you can't handle the busted window, you can just patch it up with some duct tape. And that is even more incriminating to her. Mm-hmm. Because why would you just be driving around with a whole bunch of duct tape?
Well, she's also just being like snippy.
Yeah.
She's being quippy too, because like duct tape is a common tool.
It is.
But when it says there's duct tape, actually, I bet there is, which is pretty funny.
I drove around with duct tape a lot, but that's because the bumper of my car was falling off. So I have a new car now. So
I mean, the bumper on the old car probably is still falling off.
It probably is.
Wherever it may be.
Junkyard.
So he starts walking back from whence they came. I also want to mention, because it slipped my mind when we were talking about it, but right before the car crashed, the radio kicked on briefly and we heard the beginnings of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree.
Yes.
Which plays into a lot going forward. But after being gone for not very long, he comes back to the car and he says that the gas station was closed.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, she's like, those places are open 24 hours because you're in the middle. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
And he's got a little bit of blood on his face.
Yeah, he does.
And which he just totally writes off. And she's like, wait, what happened? And he's like, no, it's...
Well, I mean, they were in a really bad car accident and his scalp's bleeding, you know? So, I mean, eesh.
Yeah, he's a little beat up. And while he was gone, she was in the car and she thinks she sees a figure in the woods. And she kind of like waves at them, but they don't do anything or say anything. She just sees, a shadow off between the trees. So when he finally gets back to the car, she's been, kind of stewing on him and who he is. And she keeps grilling him. And he finally breaks down and admits that he lives like 2 miles from the school.
Yeah, he lives in a place called Glen Falls, which she says is 20 minutes from school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has been misleading a lot. And that's worrisome, especially when they're trapped out there. Although when she accuses him of planning this whole thing, he's like, what, the guy who ran me off the road was in on it too? Like,
yeah.
And she's like, maybe. It's like, I mean, you're pretty, but you're not that pretty.
No.
To come up with that much of a conspiracy. But so now the truth is starting to come out, and it turns out that he's had a crush on her for the whole school year.
Mm-hmm. And he'd been asking around school to get information about her, and that's how he'd learned that she was going to need a trip back to Delaware. So he put up the sign that he was willing to give her a ride, and he even says. He says this several times where, he figured that this would all work out because this was going to end up being just a funny story that they'll tell someday. Yeah,
he thought that if they just had a chance to get to know each other, like in 5 or 6 hours of uninterrupted road travel, that maybe they would really like each other. And he, not quite. The best laid schemes. But now we're in for a bigger problem, which is they have no help. The cell phone, she has a phone, he doesn't. Her cell phone is not getting reception. It's getting colder by the minute, and they're hearing reports on the radio that it's going to be severely cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll have to find out what happens next after this.
So they're in the car. It's been a very long time. They're getting very hungry. And the guy's talking about like, well, he brought food. He knows her favorite foods, which is very unsettling.
Well, we didn't even mention he brought like that was 60. Now this is 2007, $60 worth of groceries. That was a lot of money on groceries.
That's a lot of groceries.
And he hints that he bought all kinds of fancy crap she likes.
Yeah. But that was the bag that she left on the side of the road that she was supposed to pack up. So they don't even have any food. They only have the bottles of water that he brought. So he kind of gets in the back of the car and starts rummaging around, and he finds a candy bar. And it's a great moment because he's like reaching into the upholstery of the car and starts screaming, and she panics. And then he just pulls out a candy bar.
And she's not trusting him. She's holding the scissors from the little kit with the duct tape, like as a weapon to protect herself.
I mean, but you can't blame her. Going back to the threat level. Now his threat level is at a steady 6, I would say.
That I thought it'd be a lot higher since you're in a life or death situation, but okay.
Well, yeah. You got to hedge your bets too, because better in safety in numbers. Isn't that the phrase?
Sure, sure it is.
So they share the candy bar. He splits it in half. But as they're eating the candy bar, the car starts to sputter, and then the engine just dies.
Yes.
So they don't even have like the heat of the car, and they get out look and examine and realize that like the fuel tank busted and it's just leaked gas everywhere. So there's no salvaging the car at all. So they get back in the car because at least then there's not wind. And again, he's moving all of his earthly belongings. So he just gets out like a whole bunch of clothes and starts layering up and has her layer up.
Well, he tries to because she didn't pack any clothes.
No.
She only has
right.
gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's like, everything I need is in Delaware.
Yeah.
So she's ripping open gifts and putting on scarves and stuff like that because they really, really need to try to stay warm. Because without the car heater, this could very easily become fatal.
Yeah, very, very easily. But the problem is, as she's layering up, is having a tiny lady bladder. She has to pee again.
Of course.
So she goes outside and kind of, wanders out into the woods. And as she's squatting down, she sees a group of figures in black, in just further out in the woods, just walk past. And again, she tries to call out to them, but no one responds. They don't even seem to notice that she's there. So she runs back to Guy at the car, and he, tells him that she's seen people. So they go out and run after them into the woods. But she's very unsettled by all this. So as he's running out into the woods to try and contact these people, she goes back to the car where, it's not windy. At least it's a little bit safer. He stays outside searching for the people. And as he's walking through the woods, he starts coughing. And at first it's just like a little cough here and there. And then he's hacking like his whole throat and lungs are irritated, almost like he's inhaled something. And as he's walking through the woods, there's a burned down abandoned house. And it looks like it's been there for a while, like a very good long while.
Yeah.
And he explores inside. I mean, the most of the walls are gone. They're charred. There's just like boards and stuff. And he starts exploring inside of it. And as he's walking around, a black figure passes behind him. And he's looking around and comes to like a dark corner. And there's a frozen body. And as he's looking at it, it just moves its head to look at him.
Yeah, which is one of the most outwardly scary moments. Like, this movie is mostly very subtle.
Yeah.
But that is not a subtle scare. That one's just really freaky.
So he back at the car, she sees someone outside. And this is why the movie, like, even though it's mostly just these two, it still feels well populated because the ghosts are coming in and out so consistently now. She sees someone outside, so she, gets out and she's yelling for them, trying to get help. She approaches the figure and even gets like really close and looks down and sees that his feet are kind of like bound.
Mm-hmm.
And she reaches out to like touch him to get his attention. And the moment she touches him, her hand like freezes, like frostbite, instantaneously. He turns and he looks around at her, and his face is all bloody and marked up and scarred up. And he opens his mouth, and an eel just falls out of his mouth.
It falls on the ground flapping.
And there's an actual credit in the movie for the eel puppeteer.
Yes.
which was great. So that scares her. She kind of jumps back and turns around, and there's two more bloody figures behind her. We kind of cut, and Guy's coming back. he finds girl huddled in the snow, and she's absolutely delirious, and her one hand is like really seriously frostbitten.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes her back to the car. They use the duct tape to patch up the window.
Well, I should mention a small thing. When he was in the burned down house, he found a small fire kit, which included some old newspaper. That you would use to start a fire in a fireplace. Just want to mention that because that plays into a lot here in a minute.
So then we get another timestamp. It's now 11:17 p.m.
And he has purposefully not told her about the house full of dead frozen people he found.
Yeah.
He just told her there was nobody up there.
Yeah. There's nothing there.
Yeah, but that really might be the least of their worries when we return. So it's 11:17 p.m. Girl has retaped the window crack using some of these old newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a knock at the window. And wouldn't you know it? I mean, you know what they say, there's never a cop around when you need one, right?
Oh, and it's one of those moments where you start to feel relief, because there's not many times you would want to be approached by a state trooper. But I feel that when you're stranded on the side of the highway in a snowstorm and your car is busted down, that might be the one time.
I mean, spoken like a real person who doesn't travel really long stretches all the time. I mean, state troopers are like your lifeline for most things, because they're a lot of times you're on these roads and they're the only people that always go up and down them.
Yeah.
You know, you have no guarantee anybody else will ever go up that stretch of road, but a state trooper might.
Yeah. So a state trooper's at the window, and you do notice that his car looks kind of old.
Yeah, it's out in the background, but yeah, when we get a good look at it, it is clearly a 50s era car.
Yeah. And his outfit also seems
it definitely seems
odd.
Antiquated, yeah.
But he knocks on the window and then informs them that they can't park here.
Yeah, but not in the hilarious way that guy on YouTube or on TikTok or whatever it is, that you can't park here to crash cars. Yeah, but he's like dead serious. He's not being funny. He's not being cute. He's just like, you can't park here.
Yeah.
You can't park here. And girl is like, this is a shakedown.
Yeah.
And she basically suggests that he's probably partners with the person who ran them off the road. So now they'll have to pay this guy off. So she tells Guy, like, how much money do you have on you? How much cash? And she starts working with him to, come up with a little pile of money.
Mm-hmm. Bribe money.
Yeah. Well, and it's clear that, by the way, we didn't really mention this, but it's very clear girl is definitely from a more affluent background than Guy.
Yes.
Like, without a doubt. I mean, girl's talking nonstop about, ski trips, because there's a reference at some point where when they're talking about their frostbite and she knows how to treat it, and she says ski camp or whatever.
Yeah.
That's where she learned everything about frostbite. So it makes sense. But yeah, so she's clearly from a more affluent background than he is. And she clearly has way more money in her wallet.
Yeah.
Although this is 2007 and they were going on a road trip, because I think he said he had like almost $40 or $80 on him. I can't remember which. Yeah, you needed to have some cash on you in case back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, you can get most places take a debit card, but like back then, oof.
It was real hit or miss sometimes.
Oh, yeah. My mom was so old school when I first started traveling all the time. She was like, you need to have $100.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, that's insane. I have $40 or $60. I'll have $60.
Yeah, $60
but I'm not going to carry
is good.
$100. Man, what if I lose it?
Yeah, then I lost $100.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so she pulls together the money and insists that she'll take care of this because she's sweet talked her way out of a lot more speeding tickets than he has. And he's like, yeah, okay. So she goes up to the cop and, tries to give him the money. And what did he say? He said, he said some weather we're having.
Yeah.
Which is so creepy because it's like, it's literally like a horrible, devastating storm. We can all see that. We're all very cold.
Yeah, this is not casually comment kind of bad weather.
Yeah.
This is real bad weather. So yeah, he says what bad weather we're having. And then he says awfully bad stretch of road here. Which, yeah, okay. and that's when she starts explaining, she's like, yeah, we can't move our car. Our car's broke down. And he says, yeah, you have to move your car. You can't park here. Awfully bad stretch of road here. You mean you need to come with me? And he starts insisting that she needs to get in his trooper car. They start arguing, fighting over it. And he's like dragging her and pushing her to the car. He opens up the car door to like
says this whole thing about we have to come up with some kind of arrangement.
Yeah.
Basically saying like, I can overlook this, but we have to come up with an arrangement. And he says, I should mention, he says that this road has all kinds of trouble, like kids drag racing. He uses the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he says, N-words, hauling booze across state lines, lady drivers breaking down and no one ever sees them again. So now you realize like this guy is clearly out of time and something is seriously not right with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and then he starts trying to get her into the car. But I just want to mention, because the whole thing where he says kids are running or drag racing and I mean, using the N-word alone, is very shocking. In the 50s, it would still be pretty inappropriate, but like, you'd be like, okay, I guess you're just one of those fucking people. But saying they're hauling booze across state lines, I mean, that's not modern.
That's
not
all.
The current era.
No.
So yeah, he tries to get her in the car.
He tries to get her in the car. And that's when Guy gets out of their car with like a big baseball bat.
I think it was a tire iron or something like that.
Some big long tool, and whacks the cop in the head, which causes a ripple. That's the only way I can describe it. It causes a ripple, and everything kind of distorts, and then suddenly they're both back in the car, and one of his hands, the hand that was like holding on to...
Yeah, both of his hands that are holding on to the crowbar. It was a crowbar.
They're totally frozen. And like dangerously frozen. Yeah. And then that's when she mentions like, okay, I know what to do from ski camp. Yeah. Starts warming him up on her stomach.
One thing about the patrol car, though, the patrolman that was worth mentioning too, is when he's telling her to get in the car, he tells her like, come on, we've got an audience. And up on the hill, all around them are those black, those figures all dressed in black.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're all watching, which is very ominous, but also tells you like, okay, this is all kind of tied together. And obviously you and I mean, we've seen this movie a bunch, so we know what's going to happen and when to some extent, but the way this movie unfolds in front of you is it's very, what's the term? Like it intentionally disorients you.
Yes.
And then kind of reorients you to play with you.
Yeah.
So now that they've been back, they've realized now we're noticing like you don't want to come in contact with whatever these things are. They appear to be ghosts. You don't want to come into contact with them because they freeze you.
Yeah.
But also if you hurt them, it just kind of resets this loop at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a spicy meatball. And now they've got to figure out, well, what do we do if we have a ghost cop after us on top of the possibility of hypothermia after this?
So they're huddled up in the car trying to stay warm. I do like, although this didn't happen immediately at this point, at some point when they were in the car, there was a great moment, by the way, where he says, there's a better way for two people to conserve warmth. And she says, dream on. But then I love they linger on her and she like smirks a little, like she's amused.
by him
Yeah.
pulling that. She's kind of like, nice, okay, like,
Yeah,
nice
like
try.
that.
Yeah,
That was smooth.
That was cute.
Smooth.
Yeah.
So they're obviously getting along
Yeah.
to some extent. And that's what I like so much is this isn't a black and white, he's an evil person who was trying to ruin her life because he's a stalker. It's not. He's just this awkward guy who like got a stupid idea in his head.
Well, and in his words, he doesn't have a game. He doesn't have a line.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to meet girls.
As the kids say nowadays, he doesn't have any riz.
No riz.
No riz.
No riz detected.
So she's rummaging through the car trying to find stuff to help them stay warm, to like patch up the window or, extra blankets, whatever. And she finds the papers that he brought from the house. And she finds a newspaper describing an accident from December 23rd, 1953. And she starts to realize that this road on this night is all tied together. All of these accidents are tied together, and now they are tied with it. And so she thinks that they need to take turns through the night watching for these apparitions. She wakes up in the middle of the night like she'd accidentally fallen asleep and then just kind of was startled awake because she senses something. And the radio turns on and it's playing Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree.
Which we had heard right before the cop showed up last time.
Yeah. So she turns it off. She thinks it's just a glitch. And then the window beside her shatters and someone reaches in. Then suddenly we're in the past. It's presumably the 50s based on how everyone is dressed.
Yeah.
And I love it because the film is much more grainy. They do a totally different exposure.
Well, and it's daytime.
Whereas everything else is mostly night. And again, it's that state trooper reaches into the car window and pulls her out and throws her into the patrol car. But now she's some blonde lady. And there's people in black watching them in the woods, just like moments before when the state trooper was trying to pull her in. There was people all around them then. Back in reality, guy wakes up and girl is in a trance.
Almost looks like she's having a seizure.
Yeah. I really like the effect. What it looked like they did is they had her act out like she was sleeping and they filmed it, but then they sped it way up. So she's twitching really weird and it's very eerie. He tries to wake her up. He's like shaking her and not quite yelling at her, but like raising his voice at her to wake her up, and she won't wake up. And then again, the radio starts and stops, and then this deadly cold air starts seeping in. It's so cold that like it's almost like steam.
Yeah, it's insanely cold, like bizarrely cold.
Yeah.
And this is as we're seeing the cop like ditching bodies, basically.
Yeah, because back in her dream, the cop is taking her into the woods, throwing her in a hole in the ground.
Well, a different woman.
Different woman.
Yeah.
And burying her in the woods. She finally wakes up and he embraces her, but someone's like pawing at the window and someone else is rocking the car and there's loud noises all around them. Suddenly it all stops and they think that they're safe. It's 5:48 a.m. They're talking and he asks what happened to the guy that she was supposed to go to Cabo with. And this is where she kind of gets really vulnerable with him. And she says that she messed it up. And she thinks that she's just a difficult person and that she doesn't blame him for calling things off. And Guy kind of like says like, well, I wouldn't be upset with you. I don't think you're a difficult person. And really tries to lift her up, but not in a disingenuous way.
No.
It seems like he has enjoyed spending time with her, not just because he's some crazy fanatic, but he does actually enjoy her company. As she's talking, she's like going through all of their stuff, trying to take stock of what they have to survive with. And she finds a water bottle. And at first she's kind of grossed out because it's filled with pee, but then she also realizes it's not just urine. There's lots of blood in it.
Yeah, there's some jam in the lemonade.
Yeah.
And that means things are not okay. And that's when we start to realize he's not doing well. And earlier, by the way, when he was coughing, when you mentioned he was coughing, I saw him cough up blood.
Yeah.
So he's revealed that he's been coughing up blood, that's why he didn't make it to the gas station in reality was because he realized how bad he was feeling. We start to notice he's looking really pale. He's not doing so good. He's probably got severe internal injuries from the car accident. And he's obviously been keeping it from her because he doesn't want to scare her or make her worry or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty hefty reveal that he's not entirely, a selfish actor.
Mm-hmm.
He just is a guy who doesn't know how to talk to women, who just had a wild idea and decided to go for it. Because, it's like that saying, every frozen dead body you see on Everest was a motivated and determined individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what we have here. And unfortunately, things are not going to get much better, but we'll have to talk about that after this. I do want to let it be said, I meant to say this earlier, but I do want to make it be said, let it be known. In my opinion, the first thing they should have done when the car crashed was head to that gas station.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, I just want to put my 2 cents in. That would have been the first thing. I would be like, no, we got to get out of here and go do that.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that because, like, as far as survival goes, that would have been my first thought would be like, one of us needs to go to that gas station because it wasn't super far away.
No.
But I also, devil's advocate, could understand why they would just stay in the car. I mean, it's really, really cold. Neither of them is dressed particularly well for it. And also, they just maybe 4 miles ago got gas. So if the gas tank hadn't been cracked, in theory, they would have been able to sit in the car and run the heater all night.
Yeah.
So that's worth mentioning.
No, I get that because that's always been my thought is, when you're in an emergency situation like that, it's good to stay with the car because it's much easier to insulate the car and keep the car warm than it would be to keep yourself warm outside.
Yeah, but they are on a major road.
True.
So, like, it's not like they would have to know, like, it would be difficult to know how to get back to that gas station.
Yeah, because it's pretty much just follow the road backward.
It'd be follow the road and then make a left or whatever because they made a right onto there. Because as far as I know, they only made one turn after the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really up to interpretation as to how long on 606 they were on because it was, a minute or so. So my guess would be like less than 5 miles, 6 miles.
Yeah.
Maybe much less. But you're also out by the Poconos, so you're dealing with mountain roads and they twist and turn and zig and zag and do all kinds of things. Nature's fun like that.
Yay, nature. So she's realized, however, that staying in the car is not wise. But he's not fit to leave. So at first she has this thought of like, well, she'll just go to the gas station and she'll get help and he can stay here. But he's really worried about the weird ghostly apparitions they've been seeing.
Well, and that cop who is clearly
up to no good
and out for a woman, looking for a female victim.
So that's when she gets the idea. She's looking around, taking stock of what they have at their disposal. And, again, they're on a main road. It's
Pennsylvania. Ba-dum-bum.
There are, electricity poles. There's telephone poles.
Mm-hmm.
And she realizes there's a junction box, like right there on the telephone pole. And Guy, having packed up all his earthly belongings, and this being 2007, some people still had landlines. And he has an old landline phone in
she mentions,
his car.
she's like, I remember seeing in your junk a phone.
Yeah.
So she digs through, and sure enough, in a shoebox, there's a telephone, a landline.
There is the chance for their salvation.
And this is a good example, as you were mentioning, of her being smart, but also being motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that she was dumb or lazy. I really do think that a lot of it came down to, like, originally they were stranded on the side of the road at night in the freezing cold with a full tank of gas. Not great, but not the scariest circumstance ever. Then it becomes they could freeze to death. Scarier, but still, like, maybe they should just huddle together, wait till the sun comes up, and see what happens, because it is a major road. Somewhat.
Someone will come by eventually.
Somehow, probably, or at the very least they can get around. It'll be warmer during the day. They could try their best, whatever. Now, they've got these weird ghost-like apparition things happening. That's encouraging them to stay in the car as well, although it's scurrilous as to if the car could actually keep them safe. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But now that he is very, very ill, he's not well, and he needs medical attention, she's ready to just friggin' get this shit done.
Yeah.
And he is not okay with her heading to the gas station. She also knows that might be really dangerous. So she comes up with this plot to climb the phone tower in the frigid cold. Remember, wind chills -20 or -30 was what they say in the movie. That's really rough.
Yeah.
But she heads out to climb that thing, that phone pole, and I've never wanted to climb one. Every time I look at them, I'm like, no. I had a neighbor at my old babysitter's house years ago. They had one of those TV antennas that's way up in the air, but not on the house. It's to the side with the little bars.
Oh, yeah.
And me and other kids, we used to, like, dare each other, see how far up you'd climb it. And I'd always chicken out after, like, I got maybe 7 feet up. Because it would go, it went really, I was a kid. I bet it went up 18 feet. It feels like it went up 30 feet because I was a kid. So
yeah.
Short. But yeah, I would not want to climb that. But she's climbing this thing, and their plan for this to work is that he's in the car waiting and listening for the Christmas song, because that always plays when the cop is around.
Yeah. Well, and you forgot the sweet moment that they had very briefly before she goes out to climb the telephone pole. Because as she's getting ready, they are kind of having a heart to heart. And she tells him, just listen to the radio. If you hear the song, that's when we know that the state trooper's coming. So let me know. And she kind of asks what he would do different if they could do all of this over again. And he says that instead of coming up with this whole scheme, he would just walk up to her after class and say hi. That's all it took. There wasn't some big secret thing he had to do. He just had to say hi. They get along just fine. And then they kiss. They have this really sweet kiss.
Well, and what I love about the kiss is it's not a big fat movie kiss. They bring their heads together. She kisses him on the forehead and then on the cheek, and then they kiss. Like, it feels very natural. It doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
And no, it is a really sweet, bittersweet moment, because when he says he would have done that, she's like, that would work.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, she's also really gotten to know the kind of person he is in a lot of different ways, because you can learn a lot about somebody by how they act in the worst situation.
And this is not a great situation.
It's up there. It's up there. And she's about to climb up that pole and hopefully reach out and touch someone right after this. Okay, so she's on her way up the phone pole. She gets up to the junction box. This is one of my favorite moments because there's a lock on it, and she's like nervous about it, and she grabs the scissors, hits the edge of the box. It wasn't even locked, which I just love that moment because why would it be locked? It's literally a junction box in the middle of nowhere. What are you protecting?
Who's going up there?
Yeah. So she plugs it in and she dials 911. And the connection is not great.
No.
And she's talking to a dispatcher from 911, but they keep saying, like, I'm having trouble hearing you. I'm having trouble hearing you. She yells, we're on Route 606, 606. Like, we need help. We need help. It goes dead. Hopefully somebody heard something.
But she can't be sure. And to make matters worse, while she's up there, she hears the radio in the car start to crackle. And it starts playing Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. So she hustles down as fast as she can off the pole. And when she gets down onto the snowy ground, she's confronted by this woman who's all bruised and battered and barefoot. And the woman just kind of looks at her and goes off on her way. Girl gets back to the car and is hopeful, confident that she's gotten through. She starts celebrating with Guy, trying to talk to him, trying to tell him, like, I think I got through. I think I got through to someone. I think we're going to be okay. And then realizes he's gone.
Yeah.
It's 5:43 a.m. And she's pulling him out of the car. She sees headlights approaching, but she can't get back into the car. At first she thinks it's the state trooper, but then she realizes that she didn't hear the song. And it's a truck. It's not a, patrol car.
It's a snowplow.
It's snowplow. And so the snowplow guy, he heard her call and he's come out to get her.
Well, I'm sure the dispatch sent him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hear it. I mean,
he didn't hear it. He got called by the call.
And he was looking on at her when she went through the restaurant at the beginning. Oh,
yeah.
Which is a nice touch, too, was he was one of the, 4 people that were in the restaurant.
I totally didn't catch that.
Oh, you
That's
didn't?
Great.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. He totally looked on at her a couple of times.
Oh, that's
great.
Which
I wondered if that was meant to make us wonder if he was, suspicious or something. I don't know. But yeah, he was totally there in the gas station.
Oh, cool.
Well, it makes sense. If he works out there, that's one of the only places you could hang out and grab a bite.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. So the snowplow driver, he helps her get Guy's body into his truck, and he radios out about her, says, get ready. I've got this survivor and she's going to need help. And he starts driving her into town, and he begins explaining the history of the road. And he says that it's been a bad stretch of road ever since the 50s.
Yes.
And back then, a state trooper would bring people out here to dispose of them. And then at one point, he killed a couple teenagers, a young couple, because he was drunk and driving, and he just walked free. And a family froze in their car. And she even asks, what about the priests? And he says, oh yeah, there was the priest that lived on this road. Their house is in the woods.
Yeah, winter of 61.
And they all froze to death.
Were all found froze to death in their beds, which in hindsight, I think might have been the doing of the cop.
Oh, you think so?
Because why would they all freeze in their beds? I mean, it could be that the winter just got to them, but I don't know.
Not in 61.
I mean, they know where they live. They built their and did you mention? I'm sorry, I missed. Did you mention it was a house for retired priests?
No, I didn't mention.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was, a dormitory for retired clergy.
Okay.
Because he mentions that those priests had been very active on that road. They had found people who crashed cars and braved inclement weather to deliver the last rites for them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, okay, so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
But the way the snowplow driver's talking, this strip of road has been kind of a legend around there.
Yeah.
Because he's been hearing about it since he was a child.
Yeah, and everyone talks about it. Everyone knows about it around here. And as he's explaining the history of the road, his radio turns on and it's playing Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. And they see headlights approaching head on. And he picks up his radio receiver and kind of jokes around and says like, oh, this must be, Tom. I'm going to radio into him, let him know that, we're right in front of him. He needs to slow down.
Well, no, he just said it must be Tom. He's just all smiles. He's like, hey, Tom.
Yeah.
And one of the most badass moments of the movie is girl just clicks her seatbelt and goes, that's not Tom. I thought that was such a friggin' awesome moment. They hit into the car, they go flying, and that plow truck gets friggin' demolished. I mean, like all the windows are gone.
Yeah.
But it ends up somewhat upright.
There are days and there are days.
And it is not over yet after this.
So she's in the wreckage of the plow truck, and the plow truck driver tells her to stay in the truck. He's going to go check on the other driver. And she's pleading with him because she knows a little bit now and, says, don't do it. Don't leave. Don't leave the truck. Don't go to the other car. It's not safe. And he won't listen to her.
No, not at all.
Because he doesn't know. And he's out here to rescue people. So he's going to do his job.
Yeah, the first thing he has to think about is I have to find the other driver. But much like before, there is no other driver.
There is no other driver. But then as he's wandering through the woods, he does find a burning car. There's burning wreckage of a car. And she begs him to leave it alone, and he won't listen.
And it's a cop car.
It's a cop car. It's an old retro 50s cop car.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets out of the truck, gets onto the road, turns and looks, and there's Guy's car. They didn't get any further. She has been transported back to the car. She runs over to the guy, to the plow truck guy, and tells him to stay away from the cop car. It's definitely not safe now. And then we start hearing Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree coming from the cop car, and it gets louder and louder. And then we start seeing tons of people in the woods kind of surrounding the car. The priests come and they take the radio receiver from the cop car, and the cop reaches out and he's burning, and he starts screaming that everything was legally done. He did this all legally. He's totally enveloped.
They have no right to judge him.
Yeah, no right to judge him. And it's so spooky the way he's completely frantic about being in the right, but not completely frantic about being on fire.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's surrounded by flames, and it becomes very obvious that these priests have witnessed all of these atrocities with no power to do anything. I mean, well, first of all, priests they don't fight.
Yeah.
That's not their deal. They're conscientious objectors and pacifists. But on top of that, what would they do? Who do they report him to? He's the police in the area. He's this, that, and the other. So the idea that one fateful night he flipped his car, got himself, stuck, and then the priest showed up like they do every time there's a wreck on that road that they go and see. This time they see him there, so they just rip the receiver off the radio so he can't call for help and leave him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way they can stop him. But it's also why I wonder if maybe that was what caused them to freeze to death. I don't know that that'll be known.
Yeah.
But, or that we can know that from what the movie gives us. But like, why else did they all freeze to death in their beds? I mean, it could be that the weather is just that bad, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But after they leave him in there and he's screaming, the monks, or not monks, they look like monks because they're all dressed the same.
Yeah.
The priests all leave, and we think things are going to calm down, but then the cop jumps out and tries to get girl, grabs the tow truck driver. And that's when we see what happens, because he grabs the tow truck driver and he freezes. He just holds on to him and he freezes entirely.
From head to toe.
Yeah, he just freezes solid. So, and that's why I was like, maybe that's what happened to the monks.
Now that you mention it,
he could just have frozen each of them. But it's very murky, because if you haven't picked up on it by now, the concept of the ghosts is that they're repetitive. They're doing repetitive things.
Yes.
They're on a kind of a cycle, but it can be slightly altered.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that means that the ghost can actually go for revenge or not. Maybe it was just a freak accident. But the other thing is when he goes and finds when Guy goes and finds the priest area, it's all burnt down, but that never happened.
Yeah. And there is no good explanation of why that area is all burnt down.
In that one part. Because later when she goes through there, it's not burnt down anymore.
Yeah.
It's just extremely abandoned. Like it's in, total disrepair. There's almost no roof.
Yeah.
But it's not burned down. So, but who knows? I mean, again, different things could be happening, because it's only once the loop is broken too much that it resets.
Yes. So, yeah, it is. That's why I like it, though, is because they don't lay out this perfect rule for the loop. They just give you enough information of the loop is there. Once you're stuck in the loop, the only way to get out is to break the loop. But you can't break the loop while you're still in the loop. It's kind of like this catch-22.
Yeah, no, definitely. And also the idea that the ghost or any of the ghosts could freeze you to death, considering most of the incidents that happen post the 50s and 60s are people freezing to death because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, maybe it's the elements, or maybe it's a combination.
Yeah. And it could be, the ghosts keep you there so that you do freeze to death. But I also like that, and this is getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I like that the ghosts in this movie are not totally malevolent. I wouldn't necessarily say that the priests are actively trying to help Girl and Guy, but there is no point in once we figure out that the priests are the priests, they're spooky, but they're not an oppressive presence. They're not like the state trooper that seems like a threat. Well,
it's also important to keep in mind, I mean, they are trying to help Girl and Guy just like they tried to help everybody else.
Yeah.
Because what could they do? They were a bunch of old men who'd never fought in their lives, who are completely at the mercy of somebody like that cop. So I mean, just them watching, that was the only thing they could think of to deter that cop from doing things, was they would watch him and make it clear, like, we've seen what you're doing, which in a way I'm sure made him feel paranoid or made it more real. That he was doing bad things. That's why when he's about to burn to death, he's more concerned with, like, I never did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you be yelling that if you don't want to burn to death? You should be worried about that.
Exactly.
Not defending your morality. That's because you're worried about your morality.
Yeah.
So, but now we're back to just Girl.
Yeah.
And she's got to figure out how to survive all this.
All over again.
Well, sort of. After this.
So girl, all alone now. She's really only got one option. She goes back to the snowplow, to the big truck, and tries to get it started because she knows that Guy's car is totally dead.
Yeah.
So that's
as well as Guy.
As yeah, well, that too.
Sorry, jeez.
So her only option to get out of here is that truck. But when she gets to the truck, she, tries to start it. It won't turn over. And the state trooper, all burned up, comes after her again. And he starts grabbing at her, just like he did earlier in the movie when he was trying to grab at her and push her into the trooper vehicle. But as he's grabbing at her, which we know now is going to be fatal, Guy comes and whacks him in the head with a tire iron.
With a crowbar.
And time resets again. And everything shifts. She's back in Guy's car, and it's morning. She sees someone outside the car, and it's Guy. He starts walking away. She gets out of the car to follow him, and he starts repeating things that he's said already, but he's saying it with so much sincerity.
I would have told you everything eventually. It would have just been this sweet, funny story we'd have, is what he says.
Yeah. And he's leading her through the forest. She follows him through the forest, and he leads her through the old house, which again, now it's not burned down. It's just really old and decrepit.
Yeah. There's no corpses everywhere or anything. It's just an abandoned house. So she doesn't even see like the full history of it like he did. She follows him back through the snow. They kind of go through this beautiful journey. Well, and one thing I noticed this viewing is when she's going up after him, there's no footprints.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you pointed that out.
No footprints in the wide shot when he's way ahead of her.
Yeah. Which is a beautiful, beautiful touch. So he leads her, and as we follow her through the woods, things slowly start getting more familiar. The road is less snowy, and she kind of walks around like a wall and comes out from behind the wall, and there's the gas station.
Yeah, and that's a big reveal that I blew my mind. They didn't know how close they were. Remember I was talking about the roads that wind and they kind of go and go, but there's no way they could have known.
No.
Because they didn't have a map or anything. And also it would have been very dangerous to just hike straight through those woods not knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
So they were going a long way by taking the road around and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So now she's right back there, but also it's very fitting right back where they started. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
now the place is full maggoty with emergency vehicles. Yeah. They're taking care of her snow burned hand.
Yeah.
It is just.
We see a coroner.
Yeah. Taking away Guy's body. Mm-hmm. And then she looks at her phone at that picture she took of Guy in that moment. And now that photo, it means everything.
Yeah.
Because without him, she wouldn't have survived. And without Guy's ghost, or whatever you want to call it, the echo of who he was, she would have still been stuck out there. Who knows if she would have made it alive?
Yeah. She could have gotten stuck in the loop with him.
Possibly.
Yeah. And to me, that is just... So the movie to me is kind of about redemption. It's also about choice. Because the reason she is able to get out of the loop is because Guy made a choice to change his behavior and, help her. Not only did he directly confront the state trooper, but then he approached her to help her get out.
Yeah.
He didn't just keep playing, games or charades. He actually, did something on the level.
Well, and that falls into, if you want to go a little bit deeper into the concept of recurrence as Nietzsche saw it. Nietzsche believed in he believed in eternal recurrence as a thought experiment, basically stating that every decision you make from the day you're born until the day you die, you will make again and again and again. Every minutia will be identical again and again, even though in this moment you feel like you're making it for the first time. Therefore, a way to guide if you are living a successful life is, would you be okay with that? Or would that bring you sorrow? Would you be upset if that were true?
That's interesting.
So it's a motive to make good choices and to be a better person.
That's not the worst reasoning I've heard of.
I mean, Nietzsche is whatever, but no, that's basically the very short of Nietzsche's recurrence, whatever you call it. But yeah, and in many ways, I mean, this movie is about a person taking a chance and trying to do something, that they would never do so that they could have some memories they would like. And there's even a part where she says, like, would you live this again? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a beauty in the sadness of it all.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. It's a very beautiful film.
It's a perfect Christmas ghost story.
Yeah.
Like, I really can't recommend enough adding it to your holiday watch list.
No, I absolutely agree. I wouldn't say it's not like Silent Night, Deadly Night, where we try to watch it every single,
well, except maybe the remake when it comes out in a couple weeks.
So Wind Chill, it's not one of the ones where we have to watch it every single year, but it is certainly one of those movies that once either one of us suggests it, we're both super on board to watch it because the atmosphere is wonderful. I love the soundtrack. The musical score is great, very, very compelling, and helps really drive home the snowy atmosphere without being too Christmassy.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, just a great movie.
So definitely check it out. I know you'll like it. Wind Chill from 2007. And next time when we come back, it'll be about a week or so. Who knows? We'll be talking about a film, another Christmas road ghost story, a movie that is bizarrely like Wind Chill is bizarrely like it, but there are a lot of deviations. They don't have the same ending at all or anything like that, but they are very similar movies to the point where I was describing Wind Chill to somebody and they thought I was talking about Dead End. And I was like, oh no, I've seen that though. I like Dead End. And that's 2003's Dead End, another Christmas horror ghost travel movie. You can watch it free on Tubi, Pluto TV, Amazon Prime Video, and Plex, or rent it wherever you rent movies. So kids, that is your holiday homework. Give Dead End a watch, and we'll be talking about it real soon. And yeah, that's really what it's all about. That and eternal recurrence.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Cutting Deep into Horror. If you want to send us an email, recommend a movie, tell us what you think about our thoughts on the movies, you can send that to weeklyspooky@gmail.com. And if you love what we're doing, head to weeklyspooky.com/join. For as little as $1 a month, you can become a part of our Patreon and get over 5 years of creepypasta readings, audiobooks, and 2 bonus shows every single week. So thank you guys again so much for tuning in and giving us an excuse to rewatch Wind Chill. But now it's time to make like a present and wrap this up. So, Rach, I'll give you the final word.
Stay on the main highway. It's safer that way.
We'll see.